Well, we got him back. John Reeves is right here with us right now, folks, and he's going to give us an update on really how the transport's going. But it was so close to an election, John. This must be rather an exciting time for you.
Well, it is really, because we're watching all the parties and what their transport policies are like. Obviously, Labor's in turmoil with the worst transport minister in decades having to resign. And then you've got the National Party released their transport policy, which is a disaster. I mean, even the media have picked up on it that it's a disaster, and the fact that they undercosted everything. But worse than that is the National Party transport policy is just roads. Basically, it's not transport, it's just roads. Transport sounds too all-encompassing, but it's really just more roads.
Well, what would you do, John? Because, I mean, there's a lot, you just identify a lot of problems.
Yep.
It must be, you'd probably soak up all the money left in government. Oh, there's none left.
No, obviously, it's a good question, Max, and thank you for asking that. I think what we need to do is have a very balanced transport policy that's not just focused on one mode of transport like National has with just roads. We've got to look that we need to also invest in the railway system, because the better the railway system, the less reliance we have on roads and trucks. Now, the trucks are doing the damage to all of our roads. It doesn't matter what you say. Yes, we've had some bad weather. That, of course, we all know that. But trucks are the compounding factor that are smashing to pieces all of our roading network. So if we have a better rail system, we can reduce the reliance on trucks and therefore have safer roads, and we wouldn't have to spend so much on building the roads.
Well, there you go, folks. That's John's wisdom to point. So what he's saying, spend some money on rail and roads, the 2 R's. Hey, John,
yeah, and
final words,
even a bit of coastal shipping in there as well, Max.
John, I'll just repeat that again. So there's any final words you're going to have?
Yeah, also there's room for coastal shipping, and that's what a good balanced transport policy should have. And unfortunately, National have failed on this, and their costings, as we all know, they're way out of this water. Look, I'm not a Labour Party supporter, but I'm not a crazy National Party fan either. So I'm looking at it very balanced and just saying, hey, get the money right, get the figures right. And that's what National hasn't got.
All right, John, thanks very much.
Thank you, Max. All right, okay.
Well, folks, we've got John Reeves back, and look, it's election time, so things must be really heating up for him, because there's a lot of money to be spent on roading, that's for sure. Hey, John, what's your predictions for the future?
My predictions for the future is that I'm probably going to say that Labour is going to lose this election, but be that as it may, being non-partisan and all, I would say that the transport policies that have been announced so far are pretty dismal. When we look at the National Party's transport policy, they call it transport, but really it was just single mode. It was just roading policy, 1960s sort of policy, where it's just all about roads, nothing at all about railways. There was no massive upgrade to the railway system. There was no even minor upgrade to the railway system.
Well, here's a hard question for you, John. What would you do? What would you update?
Well, we really need to have a real balanced transport policy. So we need investment in roads, railways, and even coastal shipping. Because at the end of the day, our roads are falling apart, and we know the weather's been very bad, as you would have seen too, with roads falling apart. But the main contributing factor to our roads falling apart are the very heavy trucks. The very heavy trucks actually smash the road surfaces up, and then the rain comes in and you know, potholes everywhere. So what we need is to invest more in rail and coastal shipping to encourage a lot of that freight to move off the line haul trucks and onto rail. And that will make it easier for us to maintain our road network, and would have to spend less to update on the roading network. However, we all know we do need to spend a bit more on the roading network. It goes without saying. But I think the transport policy needs to be balanced, and the National Party's one is only balanced if you're in the trucking lobby.
Well, there's some more words of wisdom there from our dear friend. So good on you, John. That makes a lot of sense. And look, wow, I mean, you said a little bit more money, but I think when we talk in roadings and all those other issues, it's billions. But look, thanks very much, John. Good to see you, and I'll see you again next week.